Good afternoon, CMS families. Thank you for joining us for today's Family Academy Lunch and Learn, Empowering Multilingual Families. Please take a moment to sign into today's session using the bit.ly that is displayed on the screen and is added to the Q&A. Translation support is available during today's sessions. In the top right-hand corner, please select Captions. From there, you will select Show Live Captions. Then, select the language of your choosing from the drop-down. Once again, in the top right-hand corner, please select Captions. From there, you will select Show Live Captions. Then select the language of your choosing from the drop-down. We are excited to engage with you today. If you have questions during today's presentation, please select the Q&A feature. Once selected, you will be able to type your question into the question box to be addressed by our presenters during the Q&A time. And we love to hear from you. Please react and engage with using the React feature to share a thumbs up or an aha moment with our team. Families, if you would like to review today's session or a previous Family Academy session, please visit CMS Family Academy and explore up-to-date learning resources in a one-stop shop. We invite you to visit the CMS portal. This resource is available to all families. No login is required. At this time, I am pleased to introduce Gilmara Johnson, Director of Learning and Language Acquisition for CMS.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Gilmara Johnson, one of the directors here at the Learning and Language Acquisition Department, and I'm going to share with you some information that we have housed in our CMS Learning and Language Acquisition website with information to empower you, empower our multilingual families with information about assessments for our students, also community resources. Again, please feel free to jot down the bit.ly for this presentation. I'm going to share a lot of resources with you today, and then you're going to say, like, where did that go? Like, where was that? Because it's so many great items that we have here. So let's go ahead and get it started. Team, if you can please put the bit.ly of the presentation in the chat so that everybody can follow along. As we're talking about our multilingual learners, we like to start with this demographic of our district. Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools, we have students, language minority students, in numbering as 50,233 students. Including this number, we have our multilingual learning students, 32,891 students. This is after the students take the language proficiency test and are identified for services. Now, in this community that we represent in Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools, 158 countries are represented in our community, and 201 languages are represented among our students. So it's amazing to see this diversity. Also very important to see our top 10 languages. As you can see, Spanish is our top 10 language, followed by Russian, Vietnamese, French, Portuguese, Arabic, Egyptian, Lebanese, Syrian, Telugu, Hindi, Tamil, and Burmese. So this is the demographic that we have from those 201 languages. These are the top 10 represented in our country. Important to see that 57% of our students were born here in the United States. So with that information, seeing the diversity that we have from our community, let's go ahead and dive into our community resources from our community partners. Okay, I'm going to invite you to take a look at our Learning and Language Acquisition website. In this page, you're going to find a lot of resources that will be tailored to specific communities and also specific services that you might need. So I'm going to go ahead and click here so that you can see our website. Let's see, it's loading here a little bit. All right, looks like it's taking a minute to load. So let me continue here and just walk you through one of the main resources that we love from this page is the language-specific community resources. Now, let me tell you, I am from Brazil. My first language is Portuguese. So I'm always having people reaching out. So there was a large Brazil, as you saw. Portuguese is one of the top 10 languages here in our district. So we can see that I always have people reaching out to me and asking like, hey, do you know where can you find like a Brazilian restaurant or a bakery or anywhere that people speak Portuguese? So we created here at the department this language-specific community resource. Let me go back here. It looks like it opened for us. So in our website again, you're going to see, so this is our main page on CMS. If you click here when it says language-specific resource, but before I go to the language-specific resource, let me walk you through all the topics that we have here. We have useful links for CMS families, which is similar, a lot of the information that we have in the CMS family portal, but this is specifically guided for ML students. We also have community partners and resources and our language-specific community resource. Let me start by checking this section here and show you all the activities that we have. When you talk about this session with the title Empowering Multilingual Students, we come with the thought that a lot of the times our families are just not aware about all the resources that are available for them in our community. So we wanted to make sure that you know about these resources that are right here curated for you. So as you can see here in this page, again, I am in the tab Community Partners and Resources. You are going to see a lot of the activities that we have to offer for the community by our community partners and from resources that we have put together. We partner closely with Latin American Coalition, our Bridge for Kids, International House, Community Schools, and YMCAs in Charlotte. But here is a broken down community resources for you. For example, if you want to know about more where to find a clinic or, which communities are close to you, you're new to Charlotte, you don't know where to find a clinic, you can come here in our page and click here in the section Community and Wellness. Then in this page, you are going to see other topics here. Let's start with medical clinic, prescription assistance. So you have different topics here from the resources that we have for you with a list of providers. So we are constantly double checking these resources to make sure that the links are updated. But this is just to give you an example of all the community resources that we have embedded in our page. So as you can see, this is just the topic for medical clinics that I shared here. If we are looking for food assistance, for example, then you have another page with links for places that you could get food assistance and also to guide you how to apply for free and reduced lunch. So looking here at food assistance, you also have different locations here. Again, this is one of the ways that putting this website together that we want to make sure that you know that these resources are available. And we have all these community partners with this great information to share with you. And everything is linked right here in our page. If we are looking at basic needs, here is another example of the resources that we have linked for you as well. Come back to that in a minute. But as you can see, our website, our learning language acquisition website, focus in this main part here about community partners and resources. Again, we want to let you know that we have these resources available and that for you to know where to find. Sometimes you don't know which words to look for when you are trying to log in or just trying to find a particular service, okay? Now, as I was talking about in our here from our language-specific resources, let me get to this page right here for you. Then we have this map that's called All Language Communities. So here, for all the community partners and people that have helped us put this map together, so this outlines all the community resources that we have, okay? Then you can come here and look, as you can see here on the side, you can see different languages. So those are the different communities represented. Another cool thing that we have put together here are specific language communities. So let's say, again, I was giving you my example that I'm from Brazil. So if I am from Brazil, like where could be a restaurant or a place that people speak Portuguese, or even better, where could I go to practice my Portuguese if you are learning Portuguese, right? So here is just an example of all the languages that we have, and all this community partners and these resources have been curated by native language speakers from those languages. So here we go. Let's take a look here at the Portuguese one, just to give you an idea of the map. So we love this map because it's very interactive and it gives you the direction right away and a blurb about the places that you like. For example, if I want to know to a padaria, like a bakery, if I'm missing my flan or my bread from Brazil, then I can just click over right here and gives me the example of the tropical bakery and Brazilian eats and treats. So when I click on that, it gives me the address and just a blurb about this resource too. So this is such a cool project that we have in our department with this language specific resources. So we wanted to make sure that you were aware of these resources and also invite you if if you speak a language that's not listed here and you'd like to contribute to this project, just let us know. Send us an email. We'd love to add another language here, another community, because we know, as you just saw, 201 languages represented, 158 countries represented in our community. Doesn't represent all, but that's a great start for our communities to know where the resources are and where they can go, to get that feeling of home, of a people where people speak your language, and just to check out their resources as well. So let me go back here to our presentation again. Make sure that you write down our website. It's linked here in the presentation. As you come back here to the presentation, you are going to be able to see, to be able to click and go to the pages right away. Okay. As we talked about the community partners that, that we work closely, we would like to highlight the International House. International House provides one of the services that we get a lot of questions about it, which is ESL classes for parents. So if you are, or if you're interested, or if you know of anybody that is looking to receive ESL classes, the Community House offers this support right now. Right here, when you click on their page here on the contact information, you are going to be able to see under the education, so English language acquisition programs for youth, adults, and families, and to assist our families here in Charlotte-Mecklenburg School. So International House, as you can see, there are lots of different programs here, but I would like to highlight the ESL classes for parents, because that's one of the questions that we get a lot, and as they are one of our great partners, we always like to refer to this resource here for the community. Another biggest partner for us, and you probably have seen one of these branches, is the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Library. We have so many great resources here at Charlotte-Mecklenburg School Libraries, the Charlotte Libraries. And one very important thing is that your child, for being enrolled at CMS, the student ID serves as the ID card, which means you can check out any resources from the library with the student ID, and also use homework help as the tutor.com. Your student as with the CMS ID, your student has access to a free tutor to help with homework, and that's free. It's inside the library. You also have the tutor.com. But again, continue with the theme of empowering our parents. I'm so excited to share this with you, and really wanted to share this topic. We always ask, like I said, parents, a lot of people ask, like, well, where can we guide parents to learn English, for ESL classes? But we very often, we also get questions from staff or from the community. How do we go about learning another language? And it's right here. The Charlotte-Mecklenburg Library also offers a free, and I'm saying free, course for you to practice or learn another language. There are over 110 languages to choose from, including English for speakers of other 30 languages. It's really, really cool. So it's a very simple, and you go to translate languages, also linked here on this page for you. And the page is going to look like this. You're going to access, and then I highlighted here, learn another language, a free resource. You can create an account so that you can keep track of your courses. It's going to give you the opportunity to practice listening, speaking, reading, and writing in the language that you choose. I think it's amazing, and it's a free resource. So anytime that people ask me if CMS or the department provides a resource for people to learn Spanish, as you saw, as one of our top languages, or any other language, I just guide them to our Charlotte-Mecklenburg Library, because it's free. You can do it from home. You can access all these resources. So this is, again, one of the greatest resources that we have here from our community partners. But Let's go on. As we're talking about learning English and learning in language proficiency, another way that we want to empower you parents is to make sure that you understand what is the access test, right? You're probably hearing at home your kids coming home and saying, hey, I'm taking the access test tomorrow. I'm taking the access exam. Or mom, here's a letter they say that I need to take this test. So the access test is an assessment that our students who speak another language and who receive ESL services at schools, they take this test every year. It's just an English proficiency assessment to measure the language growth for the students. So it's very important, parents, that you are aware the testing window for this assessment ends on March 13th, started in January, and goes until March 13th. So please make sure that your children are at school in attendance to make sure that they are taking this English proficiency assessment, okay? This is not a test that the students have to study, or there's not a particular topic. This is just to measure the language proficiency. So there will be questions in math, social studies, and science, but this is just mainly to gauge, to get a practice, a few of the students' proficiency level. So here is what the test would look like. For example, this is a sample, okay? Then access stands for assessing comprehension and communication in English state to state. So students are going to take a listening, speaking, reading, and writing test. In this test, everything is done in the computer. The kids are going to do a test practice. It's a requirement that the schools provide the students with an opportunity to practice before they engage in this test. So in this test, the students are going to, again, like I said, take a test of listening, speaking, reading, and writing. Okay, so this is an example of what the access test would look like. Now, this is a required assessment for North Carolina. Sometimes when we enroll our children in school, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, when you enroll the students in school, you indicated another language in the enrollment form, because you indicated another language that that the family spoke or that the student spoke. The student took the WIDA screener, and once the student qualified for ESL service with the WIDA screener, every year the student is required to take the English language proficiency assessment. Okay, so you might have at some point opt out from services at the school because your child was progressing academically well. However, access test, it is a required assessment. Okay, so if you have any questions about the assessment itself, please check with your ML team at your schools or send us an email. We'll be more than glad to connect you and the school. Also, again, the assessment falls under the 4 domains, like I said: listening, speaking, reading, and writing. And it's an assessment that addresses the academic proficiency. The scores reflect proficiency ranging from level 1 to level 6, okay? So now, here's an example of a test score. Your child will receive, so this is a demo, this is a sample activity that we have here. So as you can see, this is a sample school, this is a sample district, but in June, your student will receive this course. This is very important that you understand each section of the student. So you have the student information, the scale scores track. So again, the proficiency level is going to range from level 1 to 6. So in the proficiency level, as you can see here in these bars, you will see, well, my student has a 2.8 in listening. This student had a 3.8 in writing. What does that mean? So each confidence band is going to show a range of the potential performance outcomes for the students. And then after you have this graphic with the composite scores, very important, parents, in order for the students to access, which means if they reach a score of 4.5, your child will not have to take this test again. This exam is to measure the language proficiency growth. Like I said, this is not a math test, it's not a social studies test, it's not a biology test. It is an assessment to measure the language proficiency. Again, it's required in North Carolina that all students that were identified as ESL multilingual learners, that they receive that they take this test every year. Then, From the 4 language domains, a combined score of 4.5 is going to show as a composite or overall. So I just wanted to make you aware and familiar with this report, because right now your child is taking this exam between until March 13th is the last day for the schools to give the students, all those 30,000 students that we saw in our demographic when I started the presentation, okay? So here, I love this resource for you. It's resources in your languages for you to understand the score, or even better, to understand more. Like my first language is Portuguese. Let me go and take a look here at these resources. Right here is translated for you, explaining what the access test is about. How does that help your student, and gives you more information as well. So I love that this information is provided for you in multiple languages so that you can understand more about access tests, but also understand your child's scores when you receive it later in the school year. Okay, now, as we are preparing our students to take the access test, we want to make sure that you are, getting the student ready for that as you are getting the student ready to take any other assessments at school, okay? Simple things that you can help the students at home, it could be following a recipe together, asking your students to read the steps or to write a recipe for a favorite meal. You can also discuss about what you read or watched today, the child and the parent having a conversation, making sure that the students interacting and can speak fluently in English. You can also talk about daily activities or fun activities, or while you're talking with the students, discuss events in sequence. This is a very important one here because it's going to help when the student's completing the writing assessment, okay, like steps to planting, gardening, directions, or planning a family event. So these are all ways that you can get the student prepped for writing, as it is one of the domains that the student takes the test. Also writing thank you cards or emails, recognizing words as you're driving. Oh, look at the signage, look at the billboard. Can you read it for me? These are always ways that we can get the students get at home. As you're preparing for the test days, we want to make sure that your students are in the school during review and test sessions. Like I said, for the access test and all assessments that we do, there is a practice, there is a review. So we want to make sure that attendance, your child is at school and on time to make sure that they are ready to start these assessments, okay? Encourage the students to listen carefully to all test taking directions. Again, the students are going to take this test, grades 1st to 12. We'll take the student the assessment in a computer. Kindergarten is a paper test, is a 101, okay? But for the writing test for kindergarten to 3rd grade, the students write on a booklet. For grades 4 to 12, everything is done in the computer. So you want to make sure that the students are understanding the directions, especially parents, when the students have to do the speaking domain. A lot of the times, like our kids have great fluency, they speak English very well, but when it comes to time for the speaking test, they have to wear a headset with headphones and a speaker that they're going to be able to record their answers. Sometimes they just get shy. So please talk to your parents, to talk to your students, make sure that they are speaking clearly during that section of the assessment, and nobody around is listening to them. Sometimes they just get like shy, look around to see like what's going on. Can people hear me? No, but what they are saying is just going to be recorded as their answers for that section of the test, okay? So please stay well informed about the student's test. You're going to receive a letter at home knowing that your students will be taking this assessment in the coming days, and also you will receive the results coming towards the end of May, beginning of June. Before the school year, you're going to have these results, okay? So make sure that your students are well rested on test day and encourage them to do their best, okay? Make sure that they have their breakfast at home, or if they get or they get to school on time to get the breakfast, okay? Also support students with test anxiety. Sometimes they just say like, but why do I have to take this test? Am I the only one from my class taking this test? No, this is just a test to make sure that we are, you're making gains on your language proficiency. This is not a fail or pass test for report cards instance, okay? So making sure that your students relax and is prepared for this test is very, very important so that we know that they're gonna do well. And again, if they reach that composite, that combined scores from listening, speaking, reading, and writing, if they reach a 4.5, this is going to be the last time that they have to take it, okay? So the students take the access test every year until they reach proficiency with a combined score of 4.5. So we really wanted to make sure that you were aware of these resources that are ready for you to make sure that you're preparing your students for the access testing days, okay? Also, be aware of the testing accommodations, parents, very important, not only for our access test, but all other assessments. Testing accommodations are discussed and decided in the school with the ML teacher, the testing coordinator, and you should be aware of those resources. What those accommodations could be? That could be that your child performs better by taking a test in a small group. That could be that your child does tests better, performs better in an assessment in a separate setting. Okay, it could be that an accommodation for your child is a dictionary, is a word-to-word dictionary. It's very important, parents, that you know that these accommodations have to be, the students have to be receiving these accommodations throughout the school year so that they are familiar when comes the day of the assessments. They know that they will either have a separate setting or that they will be able to use a dictionary that's word to word for them to use during the assessment, okay? So look for and ready for the parent testing reminders from the schools. You're probably going to receive communications from the schools, and we're going to talk a lot about that in a minute when I mention parent squares, okay? And also remind the students that one test is not the only measure of success or intelligence, nor does it define who they are as a scholar. Be positive. Make sure just tell your kid you're going to define, just give them a chance, let them make them sure that it's okay just to go. Most important, be in attendance and at school for the students to be able to participate in this assessment. And like I said, if they reach the composite, the combined score of 4.5, they won't have to take it next year again. So it's very important that they do well at any opportunity that they are taking this test. As I was talking about the communication, it's very important, parents, that you are signed up for Parent Square. We can't emphasize that enough. This is the main CMS communication from schools to parents and community. Okay, so communications with your child's teacher, so builds the home and the school relationship. You can text. You're going to use your phone to text and receive information from the school. Most importantly, you can choose the language of preference that you'd like to receive texts from the school. And when you reply, the teacher is going to receive the text in English, but when they reply to you, you are going to receive the text or the message in your language of preference. So it's very important that you are familiar with Parent Square. Anybody at the school, mainly in the front office, there might be a bilingual family advocate or a registrar, anybody from the school can help you. If you're not sure, also make sure about ask your students, a teacher, about how to connect to Parent Square. Okay, so that could be a note for a teacher, it could be about an event from the school, it could be an information in general from CMS. As you saw, probably from the snow days that we had recently, a lot of the messages were sent through Parent Square, through phone calls or posted on social media. But if you are connected, if you are having your account set with Parent Square, you're going to receive it right away, even before it gets to the media, right? Because CMS wants to make sure that the parents have information as decisions are made. Okay, so you make sure that you are connecting with and you have an account set with Parent Square. Again, remember, one cool feature from Parent Square is that you can select your language of preference that you're going to receive information. Here's another way just to show you how you can download the app for Parent Square registration. You can download it from the App Store or on Google Play, and you're going to look for this icon here. and get started. Again, if you're not sure on how to connect, to download, or to have this information for Parents Square, you want to make sure to double check with the schools. Again, we're talking about empowering parents. The best way to empower is making sure that you know that you have access to all these resources and how you can get this information in your language of preference, okay? Also, speaking about empowering, our department created this multilingual learner guidebooks. This guidebook contains a lot of information from descriptions of programs, enrollment process, what does it mean that your child is receiving ESL service. This guidebook is also translated in 10 different languages and available in our website as well. So just want to make sure that if you know anybody new that's coming to CMS, they don't know if the student will receive ESL services, if he qualifies for services, or how to enroll, how to register. We have all this information right here for you, including documents that are necessary for registration at schools. Just have in mind that enrollment for CMS schools is completely done online, but we have the link here for you as well as the explanation of the program. Okay, so we have that information, the guidebook in English and also in other 10 languages for you all. And lastly, parents, again, talking about empowering, we wanted to make sure that you have access to language assistance, okay? If you need interpreted at any time that you want to connect with the school, or if a school invites you to a meeting or any event, anything at schools, you have the right to receive the information in your language of preference, okay? So this is also the same link that we have in the family portal. If you need language interpretation and you're not sure about which topic or how to go about, you don't know where to start, don't worry. Just come here and then you can click on this page. Here, let me see, this one is linked. So it's a simple form, okay? And it's going to ask you what language you'd like to receive service, what department that you need. If you don't know, you just put the language there, you select. Our team, we are constantly receiving responses from this form. We are monitoring it daily because this is also the form that's linked on the family portal. So if you need language interpretation, make sure to complete that form and send it to us. Then one member from our department, from our team, will connect with you with an interpreter. Let's say that you need an interpreter for Russian. When you complete the form, you can select Russian, and then with your phone number, we will call you, and with a Russian interpreter, it's going to be a three-way call: department, the interpreter, and you, so that we can guide you to the department or that we can answer the question that you might have. So again, very important, a great tool that you have available for free for CMS families, okay? This is a service that needs to be initiated by the school. And on your side, if you don't receive an invitation from the school already in the language, or if you need assistance with language, please come here and complete this form. And then one of us at CMS will initiate the service of connecting you with an interpreter. Interpreter can be through the phone. We have a telephonic line that we use to connect with the parents, or it could also be that we can invite you to come to the school and have an interpreter in person to help you, or for parent conference, or for any meeting that you have at schools. Interpreters are always available at our school events and district events to make sure, again, that you are receiving the information on your language of preference. Okay, so that wraps up my presentation today. Sharing about all the resources that we have here at Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools for you. Again, highlighting the resources from our website, community resources, where you can find the services that you need. Also highlighting our language of community resources by languages, language-specific community resources, and also, parent, again, letting you know about access testing and how you can help your children get prepared for this assessment. Thank you all so much for joining today, and at this time, we open for questions. Team, do we have any questions in the chat?
We do have one question in the chat.
Yes.
Hi, what measures are in place to educate the majority community students to treat the minority communities equally, because my child once said that one of the students said, just having trouble reading the end of that, something about his food.
Okay. So we have, as you can see, we have a great diversity here at CMS. But our teachers, especially from our department, we want to make sure that we understanding the background of our students, the demographics of our students. So I would suggest, Mom, that just let us know which school or in particular, because there is training of cultural awareness provided by the district. There is cultural awareness, also the cultural sensitive activities that we always work with our students, so that shouldn't be an issue. I know that sometimes the children just get curious, right? They just, oh, what is this? What are you eating? It's not necessarily that they're making fun of it. It's just because they want to learn. But if you would like to learn about more the resources of the cultural awareness and cultural sensitive activities, or which, if you want, let me know about the particular school, I'll be more than glad to connect with you as well, so that you can learn more and make sure that it's just, most of the time is just sharing about our own culture and the things that we do. So that it's our goal to educate the community about how things are like and where we come from, and then just making sure that they have an understanding that we're just different, right? Okay. I hope it
Wonderful.
answered your question. Yes.
Families, if you have any other questions, please add them to the Q&A at this time.
Mm-hmm. And we also would please invite everyone to save this presentation. Again, the link is in the chat. So if you have any questions, you can just follow up, contact us through the Family Academy, and we will be more glad to connect with you all. And I'll go ahead, I'll put my contact in the chat as well if anybody has any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson, and thank you for sharing such valuable information with our families today. And thank you, families, for attending today's Family Academy Lunch and Learn. And a special thank you again to Ms. Johnson for sharing such valuable information. Families, if you've not already done so, please complete the attendance link pinned in the Q&A. Have a wonderful day.